let's give it a go.
Okay, great. Really does break the fourth wall to do it like this, which is kind of interesting. Okay, here we go. So you text or you DM'd me this. We're not text friends yet. This is XDM. Your interview with that Jason guy actually radicalized me into an extreme communist faster than anything I've ever seen in my entire life. Holy fuck. So a great DM to receive. Also relevant because like part of your brand as a center-left normie Dem streamer, like you fight with the communists a lot. You have a lot of beef with communists. So I thought it was kind of meaningful that something I did gave you some sympathy to your, streaming counterparties. And I'm wondering, for you, I would like to hear you expand on it a little bit.
Okay, so firstly, when you talk about like the Overton window or the political philosophies that are popular in America, it really varies based on what part of the internet you're on or what part of American politics you're on. I'm sure you've noticed this, that if you talk to Republicans, they would say that Obama is a communist, or
sure.
They've been saying this for decades for every single Democrat, that we're all communists or socialists or whatever. And then if you go online, there are a lot of people in very far left spaces where when they say a leftist or somebody from the left, capital L left, they mean a socialist or a communist. So you can't, like center left Democrats, they wouldn't consider to be leftists or whatever, right?
Right, sure.
Okay. So just clarifying that terminology. On the very, very far left, okay, so like people who consider themselves socialists and communists, there are these like stock critiques that they make of all of the liberal society. So of all the ordinary political factions that exist in the United States or Europe or whatever else. And that Jason guy was the living embodiment of the worst caricatures of what it means to be a capitalist. And I just couldn't believe that somebody was unironically rattling them off one after another, after another, after another, after another. I have fought with so many people who say this, they'll be like, cut a liberal and a fascist bleeds, like liberals always defend fascism or whatever. And it's like, historically, that's not really true, right? It was the liberals that, that technically went to Europe and beat the fascists and everything else with the help of the Soviet Union and everything. But
small L liberalism is anti-fascist and it's actually.
But to hear this guy look you in the eye digitally and to say, well, we really prefer when there's a revolving door of corrupt oligarchical power that we can just go in and make deals with. That's the kind of stuff that you would have to like torture me to admit, because I feel like I would be like, somebody's going to eat my body. I'm going to be cannibalized if I'm in a society where, especially right now, where there's so much like civil unrest, deserved or not, about, wealth disparity, income gaps, and everything else. To have this guy just openly saying, well, you don't really understand, Tim. Let me explain why all of us love the corrupt authoritarian structure so much. And then you rightfully pointed out, even though you can never use a counterfactual hypothetical because they'll lie and own it, you rightfully pointed out if Kamala or if Biden or if anybody else had this type of revolving door structure, it would be the end of the universe for these guys. They would be crying all day about how corrupt and evil and terrible the administration is. And it was answer after answer after answer where this guy was just sending me for how insane this stuff. JVL said it best when he said, strap him to a Falcon, whatever rocket, and just launch him into the sun? Like,
strap him to a Falcon Heavy. I appreciate that. I like that. That's what I was going for. I want people to see the unadulterated id of these guys. That's part of the reason why I have Jason on. Say what you want about Jason. He's telling you what he really thinks. He's not bullshitting. Otherwise, nobody would talk like this. I just want to play for people who didn't punish themselves with it, which is some folks. I noticed our YouTube numbers were down on the Jason from All In podcast interview. I want to just play maybe just the oligarch clip that you're referencing, where he was talking about being pro oligarch. Essentially, let's take a listen to that one.
If you start a war and you do a supply chain shock with energy, you essentially take the Trump 2.0 agenda and you torch it,
Correct.
Which is what's happened.
But why haven't more people come around on that? And again, I would think that Chamath, for example, I know you don't like to speak for guys, but just in theory, if you had a VC and you brought a CEO in and they're like, hey, man, you invest in me right now, you get behind me, we're going to have 6% growth this year. And then for 6 months later, they like stuck their dick in the fax machine and like screwed everything up. And now they're at 2% growth with maybe negative, with maybe going down from there. You'd be like, okay, well, See, turns out we need some new leadership. I'm calling the board here. I have some concerns.
Yeah, so
why isn't that happening? Why aren't people like, we're calling the board here?
Very simple.
Yeah.
Trump demands complete fidelity. I'm not speaking about Chamathia or anybody specific, but we all know in order to be in the Trump circle, you have to have complete, utter fidelity to him. He's a genius.
So it's North Korea. We're in North Korea.
Basically, I think
it doesn't feel like, again, like a capitalist system. it doesn't feel like a capitalist system. Yeah.
It's
I can't critique the president.
Capitalist slash. If you told a bunch of business leaders this could become oligarchic,
they'd say yeah.
They would be like, "Sign me up."
Hell yeah.
Sounds great.
And this is
oligarchy sounds pretty great.
And this is why we're fucked, JK.
For a short period of time.
Can we agree for a second? That's why we're fucked. This is why we're not going to get. You said you wanted normal. There you go.
I don't know if you've ever heard. There's a name for this concept that somebody introduced me to a month ago, and sometimes when I get these concepts introduced to me, I see them everywhere. And I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but when people talk about Republicans in American discourse, there is a very passive, infantilizing tone used, like the things they do inevitably flow from the circumstances that they're a part of, right? Well, Trump had to do this. The Democrats did this. Well, what do you expect us to do? Somebody said a mean thing. But Democrats are consistently treated like they have ultra agency and that they need to be above it all. It's like this adult child approach to politics.